Hey, what are you playing at here?
Good day to you.
I'd like to speak to you about something.
What's on your mind?
I hear you've got a writ signed by the abbot granting entry to the monastery.
Indeed I do. What of it?
I need it.
What good would it do you? You don't want to become a monk instead of him, do you?
Yes, I do actually. But I'll need that writ to do it.
Now that's funny. I've never heard such nonsense in my life. The boy must enter the monastery, and there's no way around it. If you want to become a monk as well, you'll have to earn your own place.
Hand over that writ of acceptance right now, or things will get ugly.
Pardon me? I wouldn't give you that writ even if you threatened to kill me. Honor and duty won't allow it. May the Lord watch over you.
There's still something...
What's on your...
What if I give you a...
You dare question...
Farewell. I'll slaughter you.
Gun weak at the knee.
Please bring me something
Got
to
it
eat.
for you right here. Here you are, and good health. Greetings.
I shan't, friend.
I suppose for how long?
Just... Here you are.
You're carrying on.
God bless.
Dying.
I might as well be. I'll be buried alive among those monks.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm Carl. I'm supposed to enter as a novice.
We expected you sooner. Weren't you supposed to come here with your guardian? It's been so hectic lately, people will keep turning up out of the blue.
He got drunk last night and wasn't able to come with me today.
Such irresponsibility. And you share his guilt for abandoning him. Although, of course, inebriation is a sin. Well, we'll see. Can you read and write?
Naturally. I wouldn't be here otherwise.
So then, are you ready to enter the Order of Saint Benedict and renounce forever the temptations of this world?
I am.
Then you must rid yourself of all your worldly possessions. Sell them or give them to the poor and needy or donate them to the monastery. You may not enter this place burdened by worldly goods. Inside the gatehouse is a trunk in which you will find monk's robes. Put away all your possessions and dress yourself in the habit. Then you may rest a while I go and see the prior to arrange matters for your acceptance. God be with you.
Hey, you! What are you doing?
Can I take a look inside the monastery?
What's got into you, boy? The grounds inside the monastery belong to the monks of the Order of Saint Benedict. No others shall pass.
Can I take a look?
God be with you. What are you up to here? Get out of here or I'll call the guards on you. Get going! Be quick about it!
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
One bound for the monastery.
And that's precisely
Good health to you.
I've got what you need.
You've got the writ, but what about the purse? I can't go anywhere without it.
A tankard here.
Fine. I'll be back with the money.
God be with you.
Huh.
Yeah.
Strange feeling being without all of that. I didn't realise how much I'd grown used to it.
Everything's prepared. It's time for you to take your vows.
Do I really have to wear this?
You'd better get used to it. You'll be wearing it for the rest of your life.
Brothers in Christ, we have gathered here today to welcome a new novice into our midst. Dear brother, forget your former life and embrace your new vocation in the community of the monks of St. Benedict. Opus Dei, obedientia, obprobria, the service of God, obedience, and endurance of all discomfort. These are the cornerstones and succor of our order, which on this day shall become your own. Suscipe me, Domine, secundum eloquium tuum, et vivam. Et non confundas me ab expectatione mea.
Suscipe me, Domine, secundum in loquium tuum vivam, et non confundas me ab expectatione mea.
Accept your new name, Brother Gregor, and wear it with honor. Welcome, brother.
Welcome, brother. I am Antonius, a novice like you. I've been instructed to guide you around the monastery and tell you what you can expect and what your duties will be.
Thanks for helping me out during the ceremony. I had no idea what I was supposed to do.
You don't know Latin, do you? Don't worry. Work in the scriptorium will teach you fast enough. Why exactly are you here? Was it your choice? Or did someone force you to come?
I'm being punished. If it were up to me, I'd still be spending my days in taverns and my nights with whores.
I don't envy you. Unfortunately, you're here for the rest of your life.
Would you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a novice and I'm here because I'd make a poor merchant. I like books and I want an education. Although I must say, so far the monastic life's been quite unexpected.
Let's go then.
Good. But before we do, here's a letter directly from the prior telling you all your regular duties from tomorrow onwards. Make sure to read it this evening, so you know how things work. Right, we can go now. Follow me closely. I'll explain everything as we go. Remember one word: discipline. It's your job to work and pray. You serve the Lord now, not your own bodily needs. Come now, I don't want to still be showing you around at midnight. This is the way to the dormitory, where we all sleep. You'll find a free bed there, which is now yours. Do you know the first thing the monastery taught me? To appreciate sleep. We rise before dawn every day. Takes a bit of getting used to.
Peace be with you, brother.
This is the garden, a place for silent contemplation and meditation. Centuries ago, this monastery was founded by the most esteemed of brothers, Saint Procopius. His earthly remains can be found in a cave under the monastery, and his spirit wanders the corridors at night, punishing any misbehaving novices. So beware. Here are the frattery and scriptorium, together with the library. These are the places where we work. Ora et labora. Pray and work. As a novice, you must always listen to your superior brethren. And above us monks are the prior and the circators, who punish every infraction. You'll know them by the canes they carry. Do what they say. This is the refectory, where we come together to eat. During meals, you must be silent. Only one brother reads aloud from the Rule of Saint Benedict.
The rule is the only law we recognize, with the exception of those from God himself. If you break any of its precepts, expect a swift punishment. But I've already told you about the circuitous. The library, the pride of our monastery, a trove of learning. We don't just read books here. We also copy them. You, too, will learn how.
And that's all. Today you are still free from duty, but tomorrow you begin work like the others. If you need anything, ask any of the brothers. We'll be glad to help you. And I recommend you get to know the other novices. You already know me. Then there is Siskin, Yodok, and Lucas.
Thanks for showing me around. There's a lot to learn here. Will you tell me something about yourself?
There's not much to tell. I lived in Vlashim, and after my father died, I found out I wasn't much of a merchant. So I left the shop to my brother and decided to become a monk. It's peaceful here. There's food and lots of time to read.
So you chose to come here?
It may seem strange, but I'm one of the few novices that did. I might be the only one. The truth is, the idea of spending my life in a monastery was more appealing than being cooped up in a greasy old shop.
It occurred to me you might be the man to ask. I'm looking for some lockpicks. Do you know anyone in the monastery who could help me?
Lockpicks? You surprise me, brother. And you, a nobleman's son. But you could ask Brother Salarius. They say he used to be a thief.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Who's in charge of things around here?
Truthfully, everyone except us. but officially Abbot Peter, and soon enough someone else. As if it mattered. Our life will still be work and prayer.
I see. Are there any rifts between the brothers?
Yes. From the moment talk began about electing a new abbot, it's been like a hornet's nest here. Strange you haven't noticed.
Tell me something about electing the abbot.
Abbot Peter is old. When he dies, they'll have to select a new abbot from amongst the brethren. The candidates are John and Nevlas. And if you ask me for my opinion, Nevlas is definitely the right man. Unfortunately, no one cares about my opinion because novices get no say.
Tell me something about life here.
Work, prayer, as if you didn't know. We serve God, and that's the central truth of our lives.
What are the roles of the various monks here?
Someone takes care of the library, someone else the garden. The abbot supervises everyone, and in his absence, the prior. But it's the circators you should worry about. They're the brothers who'll make sure we observe the rule. They can be quite strict, so if you want to avoid getting punished, always act righteously and do your duties honestly.
Who would you choose as the new abbot if you could?
Why should I even think about that when I don't have the right to vote? Gregor, don't go poking your nose into other people's business. You'll sleep better at night.
What would you like?
I found this piece of parchment. It looks like it's been ripped out of a book.
I've no idea. Why don't you ask Brother Librarian?
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Can you tell me something about the rule of St. Benedict?
7 centuries ago, St. Benedict of Nursia wrote a collection of monastic rules, which we still follow today. They're read at every meal. The fundamental precepts are obedience, work, and prayer. We're fully devoted to serving God. The outside world, beyond the monastery walls, is foreign to us.
Do you never want to know what's going on out there?
And what should be going on? The sky is just as blue, the grass is just as green. Perhaps the rulers change, but the greatest ruler of them all will remain unchanged throughout the ages.
I'm interested in the monastery's history.
Well, it was founded by Saint Procopius 500 years ago. After his death, heretics occupied the place for some time. But then the order was restored and the brothers of the true faith returned.
Heretics, you say?
They wanted to worship God with some foreign rituals, in a language foreign to God. They were driven away, and their books burned.
What are the roles of the various monks here?
Well, the abbot is the head, but he's not here now. Then there's the prior, the sub-prior, the librarian, the porter, many others. As a novice, you should be particularly mindful of the circators. They're the ones who maintain discipline and punish bad behavior.
What can you tell me about the novices here?
And what can I say? You're here to demonstrate your devotion to God and to live a monastic life. After a year, you can make your vows and become a fully fledged brother.
I meant something specific about the brothers that are here.
But you know them yourself. Yorick is an odd one, but he's diligent and eager, perhaps too eager. Siskin is good company, but a bit too worldly for a monk. Antonius is hard-working and will help with anything, but prays less than he ought. Lucas is as quiet as a mouse, and no one knows much about him. And then we have you, about who I know nothing.
Can you leave the monastery?
Where would you go? You've everything you need here. Anyway, all the doors here are closed and locked tight, so no one can get in or out.
Who would you like to be the new abbot?
Brother John, obviously. No one's interested in Nevlas and his new ideas.
Are there ever any disagreements between the brothers?
Unfortunately, yes. The biggest quarrel right now are about the election of the new abbot. They can already see poor Peter in his grave.
Tell me something about electing the abbot.
Oh, the old abbot is practically on his deathbed. There are two candidates. Half the monastery wants John, the other half Navlas. There's no chance they'll come to an agreement, but you probably already noticed the atmosphere around here.
Tell me about John.
John is Cicada and the oldest brother here. It would be only natural if he took the crozier from Peter. He has experience, merit, and composure. He'd lead the monastery wisely.
I'd like to know about Nevlas.
Nevlas manages the monastery's properties. He doesn't have the most experience, but his drive and heart are pure. His faith firm, and his ideas rational. Although perhaps he's too keen to change our routines here, which many brothers don't like.
Why does it matter so much who wins?
Because the future direction of the monastery hangs in the balance. The younger brothers feel they have to work more than their superior brothers, and that some brothers are more concerned with their own comfort than with worshipping God. The older brothers take a different view. They say the younger monks want privilege they haven't earned, and each side is its own candidate.
I thought politics weren't part of the monastic way of life.
You're right. But we know nothing besides the monastery, and the abbot's decision can influence our entire life. Some of the brothers take it very personally.
This looks like the dregs after a night's drinking. Who could be coming here?
Salve Domine.
Greetings, brother. I'm Gregor, and I'm new here.
Greetings to you, brother. I'm Yodok, the oldest of the novices. I hope you'll like it here in the monastery and that you won't get into trouble.
Trouble?
You're young, perhaps intemperate. You might easily stray from the rules of the order. I suggest you get to know the older monks. You never know when it might come in handy.
I'm interested in the other novices. Do you know anything about Antonius?
Only that he came to the monastery voluntarily, because he didn't want to work in his father's shop. Antonius is all right. You can rely on him. He won't betray your confidence. He's always happy to help, which is more than can be said for the other brothers. It's a mystery, but one that will be soon solved. It's a wonder the prior doesn't
I've read the
take
abbot's
breath in
book.
the morning.
It says in there that you're not as saintly as you make out. Actually, it seems like you're as lecherous as a boring rut.
You broke into the abbot's quarters to spy on me? You won't get away with it.
I wasn't interested in your opinion about what I did. What interests me is you and what the book has to say about you.
I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm going to report you.
Just try it, and I'll smack you so hard your feet won't touch the ground.
No, don't hit me. I won't say anything to anyone, I promise.
Can you tell me something about yourself?
I would if there was anything noteworthy to say. But I'm just the ordinary son of a landowner, now a monk. There's nothing in my past, present, or future that anyone could find interesting.
Why did you join the monastery?
Because it was better than living in poverty. As the youngest son, I'm not entitled to inherit my father's estate, but he was kind enough to sell off some cattle and send me here. And you know what? I'm glad to be here. It's better than mucking out manure.
Who would you vote for as the new abbot if you could?
Why do you care? We don't have the right to vote, so we shouldn't get mixed up in it.
I'm just interested, that's all.
I like John better. But like I've said, it's not our place to get involved. It's enough that Antonius is mixed up in it. Don't you start too.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Well, that's all. Thank you for your time, brother. I'm Gregor and I'm new here.
I know. I saw you in the church during ceremony. I have the feeling we'll be meeting again soon, and often. You see, I'm the circator.
What does that mean?
I make sure everyone observes the rule, does their work, and that everything's the way it should be.
And when it's not the way it should be?
Then we're authorized to mete out punishment. But certainly you won't require correction, will you, brother?
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Are there ever any disagreements between the brothers?
Unfortunately, yes. The biggest quarrels right now are about the election of the new abbot. They can already see poor Peter in his grave.
I understand. Tell me something about life here.
Prayer, work, obedience. That just about sums it up.
Who would you like to be the new abbot?
I've thought long and hard about it, and I've decided to support John. You've seen us drinking here, so either join in or swear you won't tell a soul. You won't want to end up like Lucas now, would you?
All right. I wouldn't mind some wine.
That's more like it. Sit down and have a drink, my lad.
What's there left to drink to?
To our fresh young novices, our swift steeds, What is it, brother?
What are you doing here?
What does it look like? Drinking.
But we're all monks.
Youngster, when you're as old as I, you'll understand.
But you're the cicators. You're the ones meant to be keeping order here. How can gambling and drinking be a fitting part of a monk's life?
If you really want to know, see for yourself.
All right. Have it your way.
Talk to me, brother.
You mentioned Yodok. What does he do for you?
Well, nothing much. He's just a little suckling like you. He'll do whatever it takes to stay on our good side. Sometimes we make use of him when there are errands to run.
Where'd you get the wine from? I thought the monastery cellars were guarded.
So they are. But this wine isn't from the monastery. Listen, lad, would you help us out with something? This cask is almost empty and we need a new one. We're a bit old for such exertions, but you, on the other hand...
I'll help you. What do I need to do?
Ha! I knew it. Help Novice Yorick arrange for a new cask. Talk to him first thing in the morning, and by tomorrow night, the cask can be on the table.
All right, I'll talk to him. About you in the election, will you tell me more about it?
Ask me anything you want.
Tell me something about Nevlas.
Nevlas is weak and toothless. He's full of hot hair. How anyone could think he'd make a good abbot is beyond me. Enough. I don't even want to hear his name again.
I'd like to know what's going on here.
Well, the young brothers feel they don't have the same rights and responsibilities as we, who have spent much of our lives here. And what of it? Privilege needs to be earned. Nevlas is lying when he says he wants to right wrongs. All he cares about are benefits for himself and his cronies.
I'd like to help you if I can.
There is something you could do. I am convinced Nevlas must have done something that would greatly damage him if everyone found out. If he was preaching water and drinking wine, for example.
So I should dig something up on him and tell you about it?
Exactly. But I doubt you'll have any luck. Nevlas is too cunning and careful to give anything away.
Once I find something out, I'll tell you. Thank you for answering. About you in the election, will you tell me more about it?
Ask me anything you want.
Thank you for... What did you want me to do?
Dig up some dirt on Nevlas and tell me about it. If he's discredited in front of the others, he has no chance of even standing as a candidate.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Let's drink.
That's the idea. And what should we drink to?
How about to the abbot?
To the abbot it is. But wait a minute, lad. Which one?
To Abbot John.
That's more like it.
I'll be going, brothers. It's been good to sit with you a while.
Do us a favour, brother. Stay a little longer and have another drink with us. Here, some wine for you.
Oh, all right. But that's the last cup.
Ah, down the hatch.
Every gulp a treat.
No wonder. With our throats going dry.
My name's Gregor, a novice.
You can call me Siskin. Now, are you here of your own free will, or is this a punishment? Although, it's not important. Welcome to Purgatory.
Did you say purgatory?
You'll see soon enough. Soon enough.
Will you tell me something about yourself?
Look, nothing against you, but I prefer not to talk about my past.
Are you hiding something? Why are you so reluctant to tell me anything about yourself?
I'm hiding a lousy past that I'd rather forget. I hate to think of all I lost when they stuck me in here. And also because I really hate the question, aren't you the son of the famed Sir Smil Flashka of Pardubitz? I was rich and I had everything. But then my father began to feel his time approaching, so he decided to send a son to the monastery. And, being the youngest, the lot fell on me. I've no head for managing the estate, and they said I'd squander it. Can you imagine? Me in a monastery. So I took what coin I could from home with me, so I didn't lose out completely.
But you didn't have to come here if you didn't want to.
No, not if I didn't mind being left to beg alms by the city gate. I had one choice, the monastery or nothing. If it had come to that after my father's death, so be it. But to get rid of me while he's still alive...
They must have realized you robbed them.
I donated some of the silver to the monastery when I came in, just to piss them off. I can just see my my siblings, arguing with the abbot to give it back.
And you stashed away the remainder?
Indeed so.
What's your plan with this treasure?
To get out of here as soon as I can. I'll wait another year or two until my hot-headed brothers cool off a bit, and then I'll take the silver and run off somewhere, far, far away from here.
That's all I wanted to know.
Please, keep it to yourself, especially the part about the coin.
How is it that you don't get any penance for missing morning prayers?
I've paid off the circators to turn a blind eye. And the other monks don't notice as long as you show your face there from time to time. No one's too awake at that time of the morning.
I'd be interested to hear what you think about the other novices. Tell me about Antonius.
Oh, if there was a monk I'd recommend as a friend, with of course the exception of myself, it would be Antonius. He has a calm soul, he's easy to talk to, and you can always rely on him.
I'm interested in Yodok.
What could interest you about him? He's a no-good rat. He'll turn you in for the price of a turnip. I'd bet my life that if he wasn't here, he'd be a cumin scout, bowing and scraping for a few groschen.
That doesn't sound too flattering.
It wasn't meant to. No matter what you do here, watch out for him. He's got his eye on everyone, and he'll rat on you for even the slightest of infractions.
That's all. Thanks. In the middle of the night, I saw the brother Circators drinking and playing dice.
How marvellous! Did you join in? And more importantly, can I join in next time?
Siskin? I thought it wasn't allowed.
If the Circators can, we all can.
That's not how it works, though, is it?
I know. A double standard. The elder brothers can do as they please, but they're the ones preaching about morality to us.
Who would you elect, Abbot, if you could?
Most likely Nevlas. He's a fine fellow and he seems honest. But, truth be told, it doesn't matter much to me. A monastery will still be a monastery, no matter who's in charge. If you really want to talk more about it, ask Antonius. He seems to have taken an interest.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Well, that's all. Thank you for your time, brother.
Oh, leave me be.
Why are you...
Why are you waking me? Go away.
Salve. Praise be to our Lord Jesus.
Can't you see we're at Mass?
I'm Gregor, a novice.
I know. It was hard not to notice you.
And you are?
Lucas, also a novice. Don't get upset, but I don't want to talk to you. I'm happiest alone.
I'd like to know something about the other novices.
I don't know much, but ask away.
What can you tell me about Siskin?
Not a lot. I don't know him. Actually, I don't know much about him at all, except that he's not a stickler for rules.
Do you know anything about Yodok?
I don't. He doesn't like me, and he's on very friendly terms with the Circators. That's about it.
Tell me about Antonius.
I'd like to, but there's nothing to tell. I've never spoken to him, and I've never asked about him.
Are you joking? Don't you know anyone at all here?
Why should I?
I'd have thought you might want to know who you'll be spending the rest of your life with. I definitely do. In fact, I probably already know more about them than you do.
Don't get upset. I'm sorry I can't tell you more. I just haven't felt like getting to know anyone yet.
I've heard that you, that you enjoy the company of men. Is there any truth to it?
What? How do you know that?
I read it in the abbot's book.
What? The abbot's book is locked up in his chambers, and he'd never allow anyone to read it. Did you break in? But why? Just so you could dig something up on me?
I was looking for something else, but I just happened to come across your story.
No matter what you were looking for, you crossed a line that shouldn't be crossed. But don't worry, I won't tell on you if you promise me the same. Yes, you can call me a sodomite, a sinner, a monster, the spawn of Satan. But tell me this, Gregor. Can I help the way I am? I tell you, it's a test of my faith. A test so daunting you can't even imagine it.
You're right. I found it interesting, but I'm not judging you. You are the way you are. You should be true to yourself.
I'm glad you aren't like the others. Thank you for not passing judgment. I swear to God, I've never lain with another man. I've never sinned. When my father wanted me to find a wife and start a family, I told him the truth, and he had me sent here. And in a way, I was glad. My guilt had been consuming me, and I knew in the monastery I'd find peace. The Lord sees my soul, and he knows it's pure.
Labor at whatever is necessary until about the 4th hour. And from the 4th hour...
Praise be to Christ, brother.
Let them apply themselves to reading.
I'm looking for something a little, unorthodox.
And what would that be exactly?
I'm looking for lockpicks.
Lockpicks? And what would you like those for?
At the middle of the 8th hour...
I'd like to practice opening locks, just for the fun of it.
Well, why not? So you heard I used to be a burglar, did you? I put it all behind me as soon as I took the vows. But I do have a few lockpicks left. I'll trade them for food. Get me a bite to eat, and you can have your lockpicks. Can't say fairer than that, can I?
Let's have a word about the price.
All right, so?
Satisfied?
More. All right, so.
By the superior, receive it as a divine command and cannot suffer any delay in executing it. But this very obedience will be acceptable to God and pleasing to men only if what is commanded is done without hesitation.
I'm Gregor, a novice.
I know. I saw you at the ceremony. My name is Nebulus, and I'm the provost here. I'm in charge of the monastery's property, as well as handling trade with the outside world.
That means you get to leave the monastery?
No, not at all. I just write lists and send them out.
Tell me about yourself.
I'm the provost of this monastery. It's my job to ensure the monks live a humble life and that any surpluses go to the poor. But in reality, I spend all my time making sure my brother's gluttony and the construction of a new church don't swallow up the few resources we have left.
I'm interested in the election of the new abbot.
You're not alone. Everyone's so worked up about that they spent no time considering how they could make the monastery a better place now.
Why? What's wrong with it now?
Many brothers think more about their stomachs than prayer. The older brethren bend the rules of the order to make them fit their interests. So, to balance the scales, they want the novices to lead exemplary lives. Sin abounds here, just as in the outside world.
What sins are you talking about?
The scripture says, "Let he who is without sin cast the first stone." I'm sorry, Gregor, it's not my place to speak about the sins of others.
Tell me something about how the new abbot will be elected.
A new abbot has to be elected once the old one dies. All the brethren can vote, with the exception of novices. The abbot's crozier will be conferred on whoever is chosen, and he'll take the vow. When he becomes abbot, a monk spends most of his time dealing with politics outside the monastery, instead of actually leading the monastery. But he still maintains a fundamental influence on life here.
Can you tell me about Abbot Peter?
Peter's wise in the ways of politics and a good shepherd, but as you've already heard, he's old and infirm. The other brothers see him with one foot in the grave, but I still have hope for him. But you, brother, don't let yourself get involved in the games of your superiors. Could you help me with something?
With what?
I'm interested in medicine, and I know there's a cure for the abbot's ailment. With your help, I could find out the details, and together you and I could give old Peter a few more years to do good. What do you say?
What do you need me for?
In order to get the recipe for this medicament, a few rules will need to be broken. Now you know, most of the brothers believe every illness is a message from God, and that it's not our place to deny his will. I, however, think if God sent us not just illnesses, but also the medicine to cure them, then it's our duty to relieve people of their suffering. The cure for Abbot Peter's illness could be contained in one of the books in our library, but it will certainly be amongst the Libri Prohibiti, the forbidden books, those we aren't permitted to read.
Why are they forbidden?
Because they contain occult and demonic practices, witchcraft and all manner of evil. Or so some people claim. It's nonsense, of course. This is nothing but a book of medicine, albeit one written by a pagan. Ibn Sina, also known as Avicenna, is universally acknowledged to be a wise man. But here, at some point, someone decided his book is the work of a Saracen devil and must be kept under lock and key. Since then, no one can even talk about the book. But the three wise men were from the East, were they not?
Where can I find it?
In the library, there's a large cabinet with a lock on it. The forbidden books are inside. You'll easily recognize what you're looking for. The cover has not only a Latin inscription, but also Saracen letters. Bring it to me, but leave the other books there. No one will notice if one book disappears, but if more were to vanish, someone would certainly begin to look into it, which is exactly what we don't want.
Is there anything you can tell me that would help?
There's a key to the cabinet in the prior's chambers. The librarian should have another one, or you can acquire some lockpicks. But I can't tell you where or how. Perhaps Brother Salarius could help.
I'm ready.
One more important thing. There's always someone in the library during the day. To pass unwatched, you'll need to go at night. It's locked, but I'm sure you'll manage to get in. They say Brother Salarius understands locks, but don't tell him why you need it. Once you have the book, bring it to me, and I'll then use it to make Peter's medicine. We'll soon have the election of the abbot over and done with.
Not necessarily with his lips, but simply
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery.
Though he fulfills the command, yet his work will not be acceptable to God, who sees that his heart is murmuring. And far from gaining a reward for such work as this, he will incur the punishment due to murmurers. The rule of Saint Benedict, reading therefore, when anyone receives the name of abbot, he ought to govern his disciples with a twofold teaching. That is to say, he should show them all that is good and holy, by his deeds even more than by his words, expounding the Lord's commandments in words to the intelligent among his disciples, but demonstrating the divine precepts by his actions for those of harder hearts and ruder minds. The abbot should always remember what he is and what he is called, and should know that to whom more is committed, from him more is required. Let him make no distinction of persons in the monastery. Let him not love one more than another, unless it be one whom he finds better in good works or in obedience. And let him not shut his eye.